Hi, this is Irish Eyes True Crime.
Hi everyone, welcome back to Irish Eyes True Crime. I was supposed to take a break for the weekend and do some research. But you know yourself, it's very hard to shut off from thinking about Nicola and everything that happened. And I was thinking about rumours that we had heard at the start and, whether it was true or not, because we didn't really have the evidence of it, even though there was a lot of people talking about things. And then I was thinking back of something that I found out, but I didn't go fully into it. And I said, right, I'll go down that line and I'll check into it. So I'm going to share it with you tonight, what I have found. Now, many of us were thinking, could there have been dodgy people around Nicola, or maybe working with Nicola and things like that? Like, all sorts were going through our head at the time because, we were concerned like that there were strangers around her, and like a lot of us still believe that harm was done to Nicola. So here goes. Nicola didn't just work for Exclusively Mortgage. She also worked for Love Homes in Garstang. This is a post that Nicola posted on her Facebook work page, thanking Love Homes for the lovely gifts she received. This is a post from Love Homes on the 30th of January, 3 days after Nicola had disappeared. Hopefully you have already seen this appeal, but we need to find Nicola urgently. Nicola is our mortgage advisor and we need to get her home to her family, please. If you haven't, share this post far and wide. Help us to get her home. We ask anyone who drove through St. Michael's on Friday morning to check their dash cams. This is the Love Homes offices in Garstang. Is this where Nicola was on the Thursday night, perhaps? As she was meeting a boss in Garstang. In the information section on Love Homes, it says they cover Poulton, Laflide, Lancashire, Fullwood, Fleetwood, Thornton Cleaveries, Garstang, Lancashire, and Morecambe, Pillin, Blackpool and Preston. Now, while looking up all this, I found out that Nicola worked with a woman called Zoe Coates. Now, Zoe works in the office part of it, doing all the admin work and all that kind of thing. Here's Zoe sharing all the information on Love Homes. So when looking into Zoe Coates, I found a bit of information online. Tevan Care sent to prison. A care manager who plundered £71,000 from her trusting and vulnerable clients has been jailed. This was published on the 29th of July in 2015. Zoe Coates, age 41, of Lancaster Road, Garstang, sobbed in the dock at Preston Crown Court as Judge Simon Newell sentenced her to 30 months in prison. She had been on a trip of a lifetime to America with victim Kerry Lee Woods, while her husband John Woods, whom Coates was also stealing money from, could not go because there was not enough money in his account. In a personal statement, 53-year-old Mr. Woods, who has cerebral palsy, told the court he cried because he could not go to Disneyland with his wife and friends. Families and victims were in the public gallery as the court heard how Coates helped herself to more than £71,000 from vulnerable people who trusted her. Coates was employed in a managerial role for a charity called HFT, providing local support services for people with learning difficulties. Jeremy Grout-Smith, prosecuting, said on April the 29th, 2014, Coates went to Leyland Police Inquiry Desk, in effect to hand herself in for stealing. The defendant had admitted to Sophie Woods and her parents she had been stealing from Sophie. However, the other victims had no knowledge. Defending Coates, Richard English said, "This is a tragic case on so many different levels. Nothing I say should be confused with seeking to excuse her actions. It is tragic for those who lost money and lost their trust. But it is also tragic to find herself at 41 in the court with her family and her parents, knowing she will not be going home today, knowing the world will know of what she has done and the shame, justified undoubtedly, and the ridicule will undoubtedly follow. She has sold her home and the proceeds seized by police to be paid back to the victims." Judge Simon Newell said, "Each of the people you stole from were people who were being looked after and cared for by HFT, the firm that employed you. Each of those people has substantial disabilities. They were people who required a considerable degree of support. Over the 6-year period, it's clear you abused that trust with the extent of taking substantial monies from them. As a result of what you have done, each of the reports suggests these victims has considerable difficulty now in trusting people who are looking after them." The heartbroken mum of Kerry Lee Woods spoke of an ultimate betrayal. Against all odds, Kerry, 47, has overcome her condition to get married and live in supported accommodation with her husband John Wood, 54, who has cerebral palsy. The pair, who wed in a touching ceremony in 2006, lived in accommodation in Bamber Bridge under the care of Coates, who admitted 6 counts of stealing from clients. Kerry's mum, Maureen, says she was horrified when the police knocked on her door and told her Coates, whom they considered a family friend, had been stealing from Kerry and John's bank account. It is the latest tragic blow for the family. Maureen's youngest daughter, Nicola, died aged 20 after 3 heart and lung transplants, and her husband Harry died suddenly 5 months before Kerry's wedding. The great-grandmother, 71, of Mounsey Road, Bamber Bridge, said Zoe was involved with Kerry and John from the beginning, which is why we feel so incredibly betrayed. She was welcomed into our home and was like one of the family. She advised us about the wedding because I was grieving for my husband. Maureen added, "We were puzzled when John was supposed to go with the other residents in the house on a trip to the USA, but was told he couldn't go and he would disrupt things. We suspect it was because there wasn't enough money in his bank account." Kerry and John know what has happened. It has been terrible and unsettling for them both. John was crying, and it has made Kerry wary of other staff. Another victim, Sophie Green, whose mum and dad raised the alarm and confronted Coates, sobbed outside the court as she said, "The day after my mum and dad raised the alarm, she picked me up," meaning Coates. "She would not let me out of the car. She was scaring me, saying, "Don't you dare tell your mum and dad." I keep having flashbacks about this. Her mum, Kay Green, of Smith's Croft, Leyland, said it came to light when we had a bill for Sophie's care that was unpaid and found her account was overdrawn. Jackie Tate, Divisional Director at HFT, said, "We deeply regret the impact caused by this theft on the people directly affected. We have been working closely with police to ensure these people have not suffered any financial loss." Her £130,000 house in Garstang Langs is in the process of being sold, and the money will be used to repay her victims. Judge Simon Newell told her each of the people you stole from were substantially disabled, some physically, some intellectually, and some both. The people involved were already victims of the lottery of life, but now they have been made victims again by the despair, distress, and emotional turmoil of what you have done. What a rotten person to do that. I was thinking as well, when she threatened the young girl in the car, wouldn't let her out of the car. She'd no intentions of even coming forward. It was only that she got caught. Just because she handed herself in at the station, but that was only because she got caught. She'd no intentions of coming forward. She was going to stay going. And at her age, you think she'd have some cop on. Now, back to Love Holmes. I'm wondering, did they know when they were hiring her that had went on? Or are they okay with somebody like that working for them? But what does that say about their business? Are they that type of people, perhaps? It makes me wonder who Nicola was actually working for and working with. And we know Nicola was only working there for the last couple of years. She went back to work after rearing the kids while they were small. Then you have the police and her partner Paul going on about her vulnerabilities, about alcohol and the perimenopause. You know, victim blaming. And it turns out that Nicola wasn't even drinking alcohol. But what we do know is her doctor said that she had at times been stressed with work. Now, we've heard Nicola loved her job. She loved being a mortgage advisor. But could it be the fact that there's something going on around the work, nothing really to do with Nicola, but something she doesn't like about the place she works or the people that she works with? Could she have been afraid of something? As I said, the doctor said she was stressed about work. And if you take into account the 10th of January incident, and it was alcohol, because the medical team that went there said it was about alcohol. And obviously she had too much to drink. But it can happen when you're trying to block out things or you're stressed about something. But we now know it wasn't really related to the perimenopause, or that the doctor said she was stressed about work. So that has me thinking, was there something going on in work that Nicola knew or found out about? Then you have the fact that Nicola had a meeting in Garstang the evening before she disappeared with her boss. Now, I don't know, was it in them offices that she had the meeting? She also had a Zoom call when she came home and asked her parents to stay on longer with the children, as she had an important client coming in. The very next morning, she disappears, and her body is later found. Now I want to remind everyone about the rumour that went around at the beginning when Nicola disappeared. There was a rumour saying that Nicola had posted on her Facebook page the night before she disappeared that she found something out and she didn't know what to do about it. Now, I don't have that post, but I remember everybody scrambling around trying to find that post. But it seems it was removed. Now, who would be able to remove that post? Only whoever was at home, but that'd be linking at home to it, so it couldn't really be there. So then I was thinking, the morning that she disappeared, and if you remember on the last video, we were saying about the buttons being messed with, and the police said that there was activity on the phone that didn't seem like the normal activity and stuff like that. So I was wondering, did somebody delete the message off Facebook the next morning? I'm also wondering if something within her job had something to do with her disappearance. Because if it was third party, somebody knew everything about Nicola, about her work, about where she took her walks with her dog, what way to make things look, to make it look like an accident. It's also strange that Love Homes has links to Thornton Cleaveries, and we know what happened with Skippool car park. Bags of evidence was taken away for a supposed vehicle that was in the car park, even though they were going to the back of the car park and there was no vehicle at the back of the car park. I was wondering, when the data experts, the police, when they were checking Nicola's phone, did they check for anything that was deleted off the phone and retrieve any data that way? Or did they bother their holes, because we know that's against the narrative? It's more likely that Nicola's heart rate spiked because she was startled by someone, and she was abducted by someone and taken away from there. Also, the Fitbit heartbeat till the 4th of February. Like, it's just as possible that she was actually alive till the 4th of February. Just the minute it's reported about the Fitbit and they're going to look to see can they find out any data from the Fitbit, next minute it's off. And then after 23 days of intensive searching, more than I've ever seen before, of a river, miraculously her body is found. After Peter Falden had said that he wanted to search the land. Everyone else was giving up, but Peter Falden said he wanted to search the land, and lo and behold, her body is found. So I want to leave that bit there. I'll see what you have to say in the comments about it and what you think about it. I have some other news now I want to talk about. So Jason Rothwell has been talking in small pieces, and he said that part of Nicola's hood was sticking up out of the water. That's what he's seen in the water. So I was thinking afterwards, because I remember saying all along that that black thing that was sticking out of the water, that all the mainstream media was posting all these pictures with the black thing sticking out of the water. Everyone was saying that it was the divers. And I was saying that it was part of her coat that was sticking up out of the water. So the point I'm trying to make here is that the mainstream media was sharing pictures of Nicola's hood sticking up out of the water, where her body was in the water. And then everyone was going on about Curtis, his video of them dragging a bag up out of the water. He didn't show videos of Nicola's body. It was just the bag that they were dragging out of the water. I don't understand why he got all the stick he got when the mainstream media was going around sharing pictures of her hood sticking up out of the water. And even the picture I have is a screenshot from an Irish news article. So I'm going to leave it there. It's 1:28 a.m. Friday night into Saturday morning. I think I need to give up now, get some sleep. I'm hoping to release this for Saturday evening for you. Some very interesting information there. Something to think about. So goodbye for now. Be safe, be happy. Please like, subscribe and share. Thank you.